Welcome into Action Network's coverage of the 2022 Breeders' Cup presented by Twin Spires. I'm your host today, Brendan Glasheen, joined by Mike Conti and Mike Somich to discuss their best bets for the weekend's races. Very simple. Give your best bet, what you feel strongly about. We'll get to some long shots as well on this video. So we'll start with Mike Conti, best bet or bets.
Yeah. So I'll start Friday in race 8. Which is the juvenile filly turf race. And I'm going with a little bit of a price here in number 5, Pleasant Passage. She's 12-1 on the morning line, which makes no sense to me. She's been nothing but professional in both starts, showed versatile running styles. In her maiden win, she came from off the pace, slingshot engage, had a great turn of foot. Last time out on a yielding turf course, went to the lead out of the gate and never looked back, held off other runners in this race here. 12-1, I think, is a gift, honestly. Yes, it's a tough race, but I think that she not only has shown a versatile running style, she's shown that she can also handle different surfaces in terms of firm turf and yielding turf. I think it looks like the weather is going to hold and it's going to be beautiful all weekend, so we should get firm. And that versatility, I think, is going to go a long way in this race. At 12-1, I'm licking my chops.
It's a wonderful price on her. Getting 12-1. Anytime you get 12-1 at the Breeders' Cup, you got to love it. The favorite in here, Mandate, coming from overseas. This is one of the few places where U.S. horses have actually done very well on the turf course traditionally at the Breeders' Cup here with the 2-year-old fillies. So I like the pick. I think Zagira is a little interesting on the outside as well. Don't love that 13 draw. She was on the dirt last time, but was dominant on the turf. And we saw her earlier beating Delight, who is a 6-1 shot here in this race. So I like going for a U.S. horse here. And I think you're getting the right price there on the 5 horse.
All right, Somich, go ahead. Best bet.
I'm going to go to race number 6 on Friday. Start us out with Love Reigns, a 2-year-old filly who is facing the boys in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint here. Wesley Ward dominates this race. This is a Wesley Ward horse. You're getting 4-1 on the morning line, which seems wild to me. I don't think we're going to get 4-1 on this horse on race day. I think you're looking more between that 2-1 and 5-2 range on Love Reigns. But he kind of tips his hand with what horses he believes are his best turf sprinters. He runs them once at Keeneland. They head over to Ascot. They come back, get one prep race in them, and right to the Breeders' Cup. It's what he did last year with Twilight Gleaming, who won this race last year with Irad aboard. We're coming right back with that same pair with Wesley Ward and Irad on Friday, and you're getting that same setup as well. He even scratched this horse out of a race at Keeneland because she was so ready to fire. And so he said, we're going to save her for the Breeders' Cup. I think Love Reigns is ready to roll here at 4-1. I think is a phenomenal price. And the draw was key as well. Drawing the 2 posts with most of the main competitors drawing outside that 10 post is a huge advantage when you're going 5.5 at Keeneland.
Okay, so some picks for Friday. That's good stuff. But how about the big day, Saturday, Conti? What do you have for us?
Yeah, best bet Saturday, race 9, the Distaff. I'm going with number 1, Malathat. She has never run a bad race. 13 races in her career. She's never missed the board. She loves Keeneland. She's a perfect 3 for 3 at Keeneland. I think with her post position, she's going to be able to sit a great trip. She's faced older horses before, which Nest, who has been a freak this year as a 3-year-old, has never faced older. And so the question becomes, what do we see out of Nest in here? Malathat has always shows up, has always run well. I'm a huge fan of hers. She's always done right by me. Todd Pletcher trains both, and Pletcher has had an amazing fall Keeneland meet. So I think that the hot hand stays with Pletcher. I'm just taking the better price in Malathat.
This horse still owes me money from last year. She's the one who knocked me out of BCBC last year. She looked like a freight train around the turn and just hung and ends up losing to a 40-1 shot coming in from Japan. A big difference with Malathat as well as the blinkers on. Last 2 races, she added the blinkers and has looked like a different horse, just much more consistent, much more focused down the lane, able to pass horses. It's going to be interesting to see what the price is here. 3-1, I think, is a fair price on her. Nest obviously been very good throughout the year, but 6-5 seems a little short in this spot, especially against this good of a field.
Somich, what are you targeting for Saturday?
Look, I'm going to go to the Breeders' Cup the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf here. I like Nashua coming in from overseas. This is a race that's been dominated by international horses coming over. Really, there's only one contingent from the U.S. that is a threat. That's in Italian, who has been wonderful at the Chad Brown Barn the last 2 times, going gate to wire. It's tough to take this field gate to wire. And these Euros generally come in here and fire first time out. Nashua's a 3-year-old. She's been improving with every start. It's going to be second off a layoff, so a logical step for a logical point for her to take another step forward. And her main competitors from Europe, she beat last time out. This is a very good distance for her. The track should play well for her. She should be able to handle the firm turf. I think she's the best horse in here. And I think 5-2 is the right price. I think you're going to get every bit of it as well, because I do think there are other betting interests in here that are going to take some money. So give me Nashua in the 6th race here, the filly and mare turf.
I'll go right outside of you with that, though, right? I think above the curve. You want to talk about that last race, over in France. I agree. Nashua ran a great race. I think if above the curve can run a very similar race in terms of style, that stalking style, I think above the curve can turn the tables here at a little bit of a better price. Buy American Pharaoh out of a Galileo Mayer. I just, Joseph O'Brien has done really well. You get the Hall of Famer Johnny V. This horse, I think, can turn the tables on Nashua at a little bit of a better price. So I'll take a little bit of a stand against you there.
Above the curve and Tuesday, the 2 horses that ran 3rd and 4th behind Nashua last time are the main threats in this spot. I like the Velasquez. I like the U.S. jockey on a European horse because they understand how to ride our turf courses significantly better than some of the European jockeys that come over here. Although for the Breeders' Cup, you do get the best that have been coming over every year. But I agree with you. I'm more concerned about the 4 above the curve and the 5 Tuesday than I am about the 11 in Italian in this spot.
I'm getting the sense here that there's also some spite involved in these best bets. Like, come on, let's go.
It's tough not to get emotional with horses sometimes. You have certain horses that owe you money still, and it's so hard to bet them.
Hey, Tony Soprano gets emotional with horses too.
He has a different way to get out of that, though.
This is true. Very good point. Let's move on to our favorite long shot play or plays for the weekend. And this is where it gets, you got to take a real deep dive into the information and really get a sense of, you got to really dig deep here. So we'll go to Conti first and then Samich. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I think, for starters, my favorite long shot of the weekend, and I guess everybody can define a long shot a little bit differently. For me, it's a horse that is above 5-1, typically above 4-1, that I think offers significant value, that has an outstanding chance to win the race. And for me, my favorite long shot of the weekend is in the 8th race on Saturday in the Breeders' Cup Mile, number 8, Regal Glory. She's facing the boys. She's 6-1 on the morning line. I think you're going to get every bit of 6-1. There's a ton of other class in this race. There are a ton of other betting interests. Listen, she's a mare going up against the boys. She's done it before. She's shown that she can be competitive against the boys. She's won more than half of her lifetime starts. For trainer Chad Brown, she's shown that she can have a wicked turn of foot. And if we see that turn of foot on Saturday, oh boy, 6-1, I am all about it.
It's an interesting pick here. I mean, she's been sub 2-1 the last 6 races. And if she had won the last 2 races, she would be like 3-1 in this spot. So you're getting a lot of value because of the result of the last 2 where she ran well, but just wasn't quite good enough. You also have to love the fact that in the 13 and 14 poster are Kinross and Domestic Spending, which are 2 of the horses that people are leaning toward. Being that far outside, going a mile at Keeneland's very difficult. The Modern Games is going to be your favorite in this spot. Ran well last year. We saw him as a 2-year-old at the Breeders' Cup. Didn't run that well last time out. So we'll see if he can kind of bounce back from that effort. I don't mind the 6-1 price on Regal Glory. I don't love the horse in this spot, but I think you're going to get the price that you deserve if you do like her.
Okay, Samich, give us a long shot.
I'm going to go to the turf sprint. Look, I love Golden Pal, and Golden Pal probably wins this race and goes off around 4-1, something like that. But we talked about Wesley Ward turf sprinting and how good he is. Right to Golden Pal's inside is Arrest Me Red. Arrest Me Red is sitting on the board at 15-1. Also a Wesley Ward trainee here. This horse is significantly better going 5.5 furlongs than 6 furlongs. The last couple races have been at 6 furlongs. One of them at Kentucky Downs, which is a very funky 6 furlong configuration, plays more like 6.5. I think Arrest Me Red's getting back to the right distance here, has the ability to stalk and still be able to close into the leader. Golden Pal's going to get the lead, but there could be some other pace pressure. If there is, and Arrest Me Red can kind of sit in that 3rd or 4th spot, I think 15-1 is a gift on this horse. I agree with Mike. Look, long shots don't always win, but you got to try and find value in them and prices that if you bet them over 100 races, you're going to be profitable. And Arrest Me Red, if I can get 15-1 100 times in this race, I think I end up making money.
Totally. Listen, I'm with you. I agree. You also, number 4 Campanella, you also get another Wesley Ward in this spot, at 8-1. What do you make of Campanella? It's interesting because IRAD is typically Wesley's go-to, especially in these turf sprints, right? And clearly IRAD stays on Golden Pal here at 2-1 on the morning line. The horse that interests me the most at a price in here, and I agree with everything that Mike said on Arrest Me Red. I was big on Arrest Me Red on Derby Day, but Creative Force, Charlie Appleby, every horse that he sends over here just seems to fire. You're going to give me 10-1 with William Buick and Charlie Appleby. Listen, I realize that the horse hasn't won since October of last year in Ascot, but has been running against some really top horses in some really high quality races. You wonder, if that last race at Ascot in the middle of October was really just trying to freshen the horse up, get the horse ready for this spot. At 10-1, I think everything Appleby sends over is always live. So I'll take a shot there.
All right, gents, great work. Mike Conti, Mike Somich, they are contributing to our Action Network coverage of the 2022 Breeders' Cup presented by Twin Spires. If you missed our How to Bet on the Breeders' Cup video, be sure to check that out. We also have content on exotic picks coming your way. Thank you all for joining us. And again, check out the Action Network YouTube channel for the rest of our Breeders' Cup coverage. As a reminder, this video and all of our video series that we've done today, Action Network's coverage of the 2022 Breeders' Cup presented by Twin Spires, they have a couple of awesome offers for both new and existing users this week. If you've never tried out Twin Spires, first, what are you waiting for? After all that analysis, you can use code ACTIONRACING to get up to a $400 bonus. Every $400 you wager, it will unlock $100. And for existing users, they're giving you $10 money back if your horse finishes second or third in any race this weekend. Again, you want to use the code ACTIONRACING over at Twin Spires now and enjoy an awesome weekend of horse racing.